Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Great. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, yeah, thank you for getting this together.
Yeah, you bet. We may have one other person joining us um, who's worked with me, Panda. Um, we'll see. Wait a few minutes for him to show up if he does. And I thought I could just start by giving a quick introduction of who we are. I'm an artist, and I've been uh, living in LA. Right now I'm not, but living in LA for the last few years. And after Standing Rock, came back and started working together with Panda um, on a project that we call Los Angeles Water School, or LAWS. And it was basically um, a space near the LA River, vacant lot, and we would organize events around water and learn about the LA River and then how it connects to Owens Valley and to the Colorado River and so on. And as part of that, we organized these kind of conversations. And so we've been doing that for a few years on and off, very casual. And now I'm living here in the Northwest on the Hoh River near Forks. And so trying to kind of take that idea of learning about water and see what other connections we can make. So that's a quick synopsis. And the idea is that we'll record this and eventually put it on the website in some edited form. But yeah, just really very happy to talk to you, and wanted to start if you want to introduce yourself and say a couple words.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Dakota Case. I come from the Puyallup people, and and uh, am part of an organization known as the Water Warriors. Um, Basically, is a group created to raise awareness around the LNG facility, and we've branched out into so many other things since the organization really kicked off, and it's always towards the betterment of the people and really help keep our identity in an urban setting around the city of Tacoma, because the city of Tacoma is built on our land and built around us. We've been here before and we'll be here after. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit of who I am, and yeah.
So maybe I don't know exactly where the LNG facility is proposed. Can you tell me like the location of it? It's in the city of Tacoma, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's built on top of a salmon estuary, on the Blair Waterway.
Right. And so that waterway, I'm guessing, that's Puyallup traditional fishing.
Yeah.
It's a little unstable, maybe on my end. Sorry.
Yeah, it's blinking in and out.
Hmm.
So I got a little bit of what you were saying.
That's traditional Puyallup fishing waters, that waterway, the Blair Estuary.
Yeah, it's Medicine Creek Treaty Territory, and it's a usual and custom gathering areas for the Puyallup people.
Yeah. And talk, if you can, about what the impact of that proposed facility would have on that waterway. Like, what would it, how would it change that waterway, and what are the fears?
Okay, yeah. So the impact it would have on the area is it's let's call what the LNG facility really is, and it's a toxic air pollution facility, and it dumps a number of chemicals in a 17-mile radius around it into the atmosphere, and then it rains down on the city of Tacoma. And the environmental impact statement absolutely completely skips this part, but it's going to affect 17 miles around it. And we're talking about pounds of ammonia a day that's literally being rained into our atmosphere and then coming down on top of us. So this toxic air pollution facility is being built on our salmon estuary with the flare right there. And so our pH balance is so far off in our water that our salmon can't even accumulate and immaculate right at the mouth of our river. So it's just like one more mistake on top of many mistakes. This LNG facility is really the last straw that could break everything, because our ecosystem is already collapsing. We're already watching it. Our crab aren't coming back. Our shellfish are coming back with soft shells, and they're not forming and they're not hardening. And this is because the water is too acidic. So right. The LNG facility is just one more catastrophe away from just completely devastating this ecosystem beyond repair.
Wow. Right there, you just told me something I wasn't really aware of, that it's not just a storage facility. It's actually, they're flaring gases, and so it's gas is going directly into the environment there. Is that right? Oh. Sorry, did I cut out again?
Let me turn my Wi-Fi on real quick and see if this will help it.
Are you connected to my Wi-Fi in the house?
All right, that should help us out right there. Just connected to the Wi-Fi.
Okay, cool. So I can repeat, I was just saying, I didn't realize that there was flaring at that facility. So it's not just a holding tank, it's actually emitting gas into the environment at that point.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is. It's literally evolved in the last 4 years of PSC being sold from country to country. It's literally the design of the whole facility has changed and evolved over time. And at first, it was supposed to be a holding facility for liquefied natural gas. And liquefied natural gas, and then it turned into a refinery, and now it's a peak shaving storage. But the whole story is, if you follow the line of liquefied natural gas and the methanol refinery in Columbus, there's a trail right there, and literally you need this stuff to create plastic. So it's just like all they're using it for is to damage the environment further and further.
Is there there's kind of a myth that natural gas is natural, that it's cleaner somehow than other forms of fossil fuel. Is that true? What's your take on that?
Oh, that's already been disproven as disproven all the way around. I mean, it burns a lot cleaner. Don't get me wrong, it burns a lot cleaner. But at the end of the day, it's more of a hazard to the environment than coal is. 10 times more happy, because you got methane leaking into the atmosphere on a daily basis from these fracking wells. And then you go up further north on First Nations territory, aka Canada, and you go up there, and all they're doing is capping these old fracking wells off. And guess what? Canada's going through and having to see how to clean these methane leaking monsters up, because it's so many percentage of the methane that's going into the atmosphere is going in Canada's air is coming from these frack wells that are just capped. They're just capped off. That's the solution to all these toxic air pollution facilities, is you cap it off, you bury it in the ground, and then you build $1 million condos on the top of it. We're watching that in the city of Tacoma right now on Point Ruston Way. They're building $1 million condos on top of the worst toxic Superfund site in the city of Tacoma, where the smelting plant used to be. And it's just like, you can only do this for so long and cap it for so long before what we're watching right now. And that's the climate crisis that's upon us at this very moment.
Right. And where does this gas come from? Like, where would it be? Is it coming from a pipeline that terminates there, or is it being shipped in on trains? How does it, I mean, in the proposed?
So it's proposed to come in by trains and pipelines. But if you want to get down to the source of it, it's coming from the Bakken oil fields, and it's coming, you know, you look at all these toxic air pollution facilities, all these pollution facilities are always adjacent to a reservation or adjacent to the First Nations territories. You know, it's always right next door, not completely on the reservation, but it's right next door to it, to make sure that everything that happens around them is a complete devastation. So they ship it down north from the Bakken oil fields. They ship it north, and then it just comes down by LNG freighters, and then the LNG on the train system, and then through the pipelines. And then it's only supposed to be a peak storage facility, but Steve Storms goes and sees the pipeline that they're putting in, and it's industrial sized pipeline. It's not residential zone pipeline, it's industrial sized pipeline, so they can ship way more of it through the under the city. And they've completely, just like, if you fall where the pipeline is, it goes under so many schools on all over the city. And it's always and you look at PSC's track record, and PSC's already got buildings that have blown up from natural gas disasters in the city of Seattle, completely decimated a city block.
Wow. So yeah, not a great track record. And
yeah.
And this is, the Bakken oil fields are is that in Alberta or in North Dakota?
The Bakken oil fields, yeah, North Dakota and towards that way, and then up there into First Nations territory. I can't tell you exactly which First Nations territory it goes to, but it's all up that way.
Yeah, so it's really all connected. It's all this kind of spider that originates there and is shipped out by pipeline and train. Wow. Tell me about the is the facility on Puyallup land, and where is it in relationship to the reservation there in Tacoma?
Oh yeah, it's definitely on Puyallup territory. You know, we've gotten court cases in our favor. We've been testifying on what there's given up to the everything in our territory on the bottom of the ocean floor and the mouth of our river and the riverbed, everything. We completely own that. So the Army Corps of Engineers used to dredge our river because they redirected the Puyallup River. River used to do an S. The Army Corps of Engineers directed it so it goes straight down, and it's built on these concrete barriers that go all the way down. And so you have to dredge these concrete barriers because all the silt that comes from out and everything builds up in the mouth of our river and completely messes it up. So we went through there, and with the dredging that they came off the bed of our river, they put right there, and they started building on top of it throughout all the years since the 1920s. They've been building up on top of it. We never gave up rights off the bed of our river, and guess what that's built off of? That's built off the bed of our river. So we went through and completely beat up their defense and everything, and said, hey, that's the bed of our river, and you built on top of it. We never gave up rights to the bed of the river. You guys dredged our river and built an island, this piece of land that's not supposed to be there, which is liquefaction zone. Just in case the earthquake ever happens, this facility is built on top of the liquefaction zone. That means it'll drop about 20 feet into the soil, and who knows what happens from there? Do we deal with the deal with the disaster from natural gas, from liquefied natural gas? That absolutely inlet, even if it starts leaking out into the water. there's so many possibilities of this happening in PSC. It's just at this point, PSC's ego isn't giving up. They've invested too much into this, being sold 2 times in this fight and everything.
Wow.
It's just not profitable for them anymore, and they're still pushing forward on the simple fact that their egos are hurt.
Yeah, it just clearly doesn't seem.
My bad. I get really gassed up speaking on this. You know, I have a lot of passion and a lot of time invested into this whole fight. You know, a lot of us do it this way.
I can really appreciate. I mean, it must be really frustrating, like you say, to see how it just goes against common sense for them to keep pursuing this. I mean, on top of it, like that whole area is a former Superfund site, right? I mean, isn't the whole Tacoma Bay?
Oh, it's still a stupid.
Dealing with
we have 2 active Superfund sites.
Sorry, cutting a little bit, man. It's still an active Superfund site. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's 22 located all around the Puget Sound right there. Just right around Bell territory. There's 2 active Superfund sites.
So it's really hard to get your head around how it makes any sense to bring more toxins in when they're trying to when there's an effort to clean up these waterways that have been so badly damaged.
Yeah.
And can you talk, Dakota, a little bit about the 1855 Medicine Creek Treaty and how that structures tribal sovereignty and stewardship over those waterways?
Oh yes, so we've been speaking a lot on this lately, and you know the signing of the Medicine Creek Treaty. Chief Leshaw really set the standard in that treaty, because in the original treaty that led to the Puyallup War and Chief Leshaw being hung, and the war in Yakima, he didn't sign the treaty because they didn't give us no rights to the water. And so during that fighting, they ended up finally in order for us to live, I hate to say that way, but in order for us to live peacefully alongside the United States, we had to sign away a lot of our land. And in the original one, they didn't want us to have any access to the water, but the water is who we are, and Chief Leshaw knew that. And so we really owe our treaty and signing to live peacefully alongside the United States, even though peace is the last thing that we've ever known, living alongside the United States. It really set the basis of what we do today. And then you add other documents in there, like the settlement for Puyallup, and it's really set the tone for us to be aligned and self-governing and exercising true sovereignty. Because if you get down to the meaning of sovereignty, it's the tribe's will to do business and deal with merchants, or whatever, how the term goes. But that's what you see a lot that's happening today, is the tribe really exercising sovereignty. Keep going, so we can exercise sovereignty to really clean up our waterways and really start taking care of our land and restoring the waterways, because we're watching, we're on the door, we're looking just right in the face now. Nobody even realizes it, and it's just like everybody's calling this weather bipolar and crazy. And I've never in my whole life time during the year, it's usually still cold. We're still shivering and catching a spring Chinook, and I'm just watching and I'm just like, damn, I haven't even sees this yet. And it's like all these fair fans out here just like scare me, because they're loving this weather. It ain't normal. They're saying this by far isn't normal. Cold one day and hot the next, 80 degrees the next. It's a climate crisis, man. Starting at what it is, we're living it right now.
Yeah, it's really, climate change is everywhere, and we're feeling it right here locally, but like you say, it's also part of a much bigger issue. And so,
Mhm.
you know, the question is always what can be done? Like, how can, you know, what's the work to be done to preserve these waterways and the fisheries that are there, and to fight for clean water.
Honestly, mine, because like, we've barked up every tree, decision makers, lawmakers, everything. We barked up every single tree in the LNG fight. I mean, we've made it all the way to the top of Washington State, and had meetings with Governor Inslee. And at the end of the day, I'm stuck with this thought that it's about doing the work, and the work is actually cleaning these waterways. And there's a question that you restore. And it's about looking into ideas like oyster farms and seaweed farms, and just cleaning these waterways up and figuring out how we really do this, and getting the garbage out of the water, and actually doing this work to restore the waterways and put these pH balances back to normal, and figure out how to survive for the next couple generations. Because I think for 7 generations, it's really going to be survival for the human race. And we really have to buckle up and hold on and do our best, or do the best that we can right now, to make it easier for the next 7 generations, because climate crisis is already here. We've already too much damage, and it's about the restoring. It's about restoring to make it easier for the next generations. Because stuff that we've seen as kids, and stuff that my father and grandfather and father before that, the next are never going to see that. And I always say that at the end of the day, when the salmon run, who the Puyallup people, my kids are going to ask, we are anymore, and we're already at the door knocking, losing the salmon. I've never thought that we wouldn't fish a chum, or we wouldn't fish coho because it isn't enough. I didn't think that there would only be a couple openers for Chinook, but we only get a couple openers for Chinook. And I'm grateful to get out there the couple times that I with my kids. I can only imagine what their kids are going to see, or their grandkids are going to see, and it's not going to be the same thing that we see. They're not going to know themselves anymore. They're not going to know the connection to this land anymore, because they will be gone.
Wow. Yeah, that really brings it home. The stakes are very high. I mean, this is like a kind of irreversible change. Once the fish are gone, it's really just the end of the
When it hits home.
It's wow. Well, thank you. It's really important work that you're doing, and I wonder, where is it in the process now? Like, nothing has been built, but all the approvals have gone through, right? At the governmental level, this project is still.
No, it's all. Nope, they've completed the facility, and we're finding permits right now. We're finding the last couple of permits, because people started building with no permit. People went about the land and got approved the construction, and that was it from the city of Tacoma, and then plowed forward. And it's always been about the Supreme Court fight, and because we've been on it since the jump, since they were putting pillars into the ground. We've been there. The Super 6 lockdown first, and we've held countless actions against this facility, and have construction down for 3 years straight. They were supposed to be completed a long time ago in 2018, but we've held them to 2021 so far. And it's just like, I never thought we'd be invested this long into this fight. And the further we go along to it, the further we know that it's necessary, because at the beginning of the climate crisis wasn't like, the and the patterns wasn't really place yet that we're seeing now. And you watch it on the news, and you go and see some crazy weather system, and they go and rename it. We've seen anything like this. And I'm just like, start calling it what it is, climate crisis. Of course, you've never seen anything like this. We're getting ready to see a lot of stuff that we've never seen before. That Mother Earth is at this where it's like time to cleanse itself. You know what I mean? Like we're at this point, the human race is the first that's on top of Mother Earth. You know what I mean? Like we just keep consuming and consuming, and she keeps giving and giving and giving. And it's there's not an infinite amount of resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's time to take drastic action. It's, I don't know. It's just, it's really hard for me to understand how this can be going ahead right now. You know, it's just, I think, you know, I feel like there's a lot of, you know, it's Earth Day weekend here, or just was, and I feel like there's a lot of, you know, feel good kind of talk about how we can make a transition at some point in the future. And, you know, there's, you know, the Biden administration is kind of setting some long-term goals. And so I feel that it's easy to slip into kind of complacency and say, oh, well, you know, we're all doing our part and we're working on it, and this problem will get fixed in the next generation. But from talking to you, I really feel this is right now. This is something that can't wait. And it's happening right here and right now.
hello.
Oh, sorry. You still there? Well, I don't know if you can hear me, but this might be the end. That's okay.
You kind of bad.
I'm cutting out. Yeah, it's the connection out here is pretty sketchy. I'm impressed we got this far with it. But
yeah, man, I appreciate you for getting us together. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Hey, Shabbat. See ya.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry. I was just dropping a little sheet seed there.
Was it?
Yeah, I studied some Lashit seed with the 12 sheet seed language class there, PLF. So, hey, Shabbat. And thank you, Dakota, for taking the time to talk with us. And it's really, it's been, you know, I've learned a lot talking to you, and I appreciate the work that you do, and hope that that, you know, the voice of the Puyallup is heard in this important case, and that that this can be turned around.